Have you ever stopped to think about what it really means to put your life in someone's hands? What if that someone was capable of freezing the air around you with just a simple glance? There's a moment in Saint Seiya that gives me chills to this day. It's not about destructive power. It's not about who screams the loudest or has the shiniest armor. It's about something much deeper. It's about the day Hyoga first met CAMUS. Just imagine the scene. A small boy, lost in the vastness of Siberia, the wind cutting his face like blades of ice. And then, silence. That kind of silence that makes you realize something greater than yourself is about to happen. CAMUS doesn't appear with fireworks. He's simply there, as if he'd always been. And in that instant, Hyoga understands that his life would never be the same again. But let me tell you something we rarely stop to think about. CAMUS didn't train Hyoga because the boy was special. It wasn't love at first sight between master and disciple. It was exactly the opposite. CAMUS saw in Hyoga the same wild fire that existed in him when he was young. And he knew that if he didn't tame that, the boy would be consumed by his own intensity. Breathing, control, absolute calm. These were the words CAMUS repeated day after day. And man, it wasn't just about fighting technique. It was about transforming a desperate boy trying to find his mother in the frozen depths of the ocean into a warrior capable of freezing anything, even his own emotions. There's a story few people know. In the first months of training, Hyoga tried to run away 3 times. He wanted to quit, go back to Japan, forget all of it. But CAMUS, he didn't run after him, didn't beg, simply waited. The 3rd time, when Hyoga returned exhausted and defeated, CAMUS said just one phrase: "When you're ready to die, let me know. Then we'll start the real training." That phrase changed everything. Because you see, everyone thinks training means learning techniques, memorizing movements, getting stronger. But with CAMUS, training meant something completely different. It meant unlearning. Unlearning fear, unlearning attachment, unlearning even hope itself. And look how insane this is. CAMUS transformed the most emotional boy in the series into the coldest warrior. Literally. Hyoga learned to freeze everything he touched, but the first ice he mastered was the ice inside his own chest. Now let me show you something that'll blow your mind. You remember that scene where CAMUS freezes Hyoga almost to death? It wasn't cruelty. It was love. The most brutal and honest kind of love that exists. Because CAMUS knew that if Hyoga didn't learn to overcome his own limits there, in Siberia, with him, the boy would die in some battle against an enemy who wouldn't show mercy. So he did the unthinkable. He became the enemy. The coldest master isn't cold because he doesn't feel. He's cold because he decided to feel everything once, and then freeze it forever. CAMUS had a love in his youth. Few people know this. She died because he wasn't strong enough to protect her. And on that day, something inside him crystallized. He swore he would never again let emotion weaken someone under his responsibility. Hyoga was more than a student. He was CAMUS's chance to redeem the boy he himself had once been. And here's the heaviest part of this whole story. When CAMUS finally dies, Hyoga doesn't cry. He simply looks at the snowy sky and whispers, "Thank you," because he finally understood. The training was never about becoming cold. It was about learning when to be cold and when to let your heart thaw. Think with me. CAMUS could have been gentle, could have hugged Hyoga when the boy cried for his mother, could have offered words of comfort, but he did none of that. Because he knew that a warrior raised with comfort breaks at reality's first blow. So he did differently. He became the blow, the storm, the merciless ice that tests whether you'll crack or harden, and Hyoga hardened. There's a detail about the diamond dust technique that's absolutely brilliant. It's not Hyoga's most powerful move, but it's the most important, because it represents exactly that. Extreme pressure transforming coal into diamond. CAMUS was the pressure, Hyoga was the coal, and time. Time was the fire no one saw, burning silently beneath all that ice. Now put this in your life. How many times have you had a master like that? Someone who didn't pat you on the back? Someone who looked at you and said, "You can be extraordinary, but the way you are now, you're just empty promise"? CAMUS wasn't worried about being loved. He was worried about being effective. And there's something that always impresses me. Even being so hard, so apparently cruel, Hyoga never doubted CAMUS. Never. Because there's a kind of trust that goes beyond sweet words. It's the trust of knowing someone loves you enough to show you the truth, even when it hurts. That moment when CAMUS pierces his own disciple, man, That wasn't attempted murder. It was a final test. It was CAMUS saying, "Will you survive without me? Because I won't be there forever." And Hyoga survived. Not through technique, but because he finally internalized everything CAMUS tried to teach for years. True power isn't in freezing the world around you. It's in controlling the fire inside you. The coldest master created the most balanced disciple in the series. Think about that. While the other knights explode with emotion, while they scream and shout their convictions, Hyoga simply acts, calm, precise, deadly. Because CAMUS didn't teach fighting techniques, he taught life philosophy through ice. And here's the truth nobody wants to hear. You need a CAMUS in your life. Someone who won't pat your head when you fail. Someone who'll look you in the eyes and say, "You can do better," and you will, or you'll quit for good. Is it hard? Yes. Is it necessary? Absolutely. Because the real world has no mercy. The real world doesn't wait for you to be ready. The real world freezes you at the first opportunity if you don't know how to generate your own internal heat. CAMUS knew this, and he prepared Hyoga not for the world that should exist, but for the world that does exist. CAMUS's last lesson wasn't a technique. It was showing Hyoga that master and disciple are just temporary roles. There comes a moment when you need to be your own master, be your own Siberia, be your own test of fire disguised as ice. And when you finally understand this, when you realize that all the pain, all the sacrifice, every tear frozen along the way was necessary, then you look back and realize your CAMUS was never cold. He just had a temperature you couldn't measure yet. So tell me something. Who is your CAMUS?